Welcome to the True Assassins podcast. You know we love to explore the shadowy world of assassins, right? And today we've got two stories from Orlando Madsbrine's True Kill that you sent him.
Yeah, this book is just full of incredible tales that really make you think about assassins,
Yeah.
not just as these cold-blooded killers, but as figures caught in these really complex webs of fate and family and power.
And Madsbrine really dives into those complexities, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about the kill, it's about the why and the how and the ripple effects, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So let's jump into our first story, Ablaze. You were particularly interested in Elara, the fire-wielding assassin, and her brother Rorek, who controls ice.
Yeah, their story just grabbed me. Because it's not just a typical sibling rivalry, is it?
Not at all. The source material makes it pretty clear that their conflict is tied to this ancient prophecy. This prophecy that says they're destined for, and this is a direct quote, balance and destruction.
It's like they were almost born to fight each other.
And that's where the assassination of their mother, the queen, comes in. This is the event that really sets everything in motion.
It's brutal. And what really stands out is the detail about the poison, the frost-forged toxin.
Right. A weapon that only Elara could create, but she's immediately framed for the murder.
Which throws the whole thing into this whirlwind of suspicion. Was she really responsible? Or was she set up?
It's so chilling to think about how easily someone can become a scapegoat, right?
It really is. It makes you question everything and everyone involved.
Then we have that incredible duel between Elara and Rorek on the battlefield. You described it in your notes, and it's just so vivid. Fireballs shattering against ice shields, ice spears flying through the air. It's like this epic clash of the elements.
And Madsbrine doesn't hold back on the description, does he? He talks about how the soldiers on both sides were basically incinerated or frozen solid.
Yeah, he used the phrase not but kindling.
It really hits home that this isn't just some petty squabble between siblings. The sheer power they wield has these massive consequences.
And it all escalates from there. We've got firestorms clashing with blizzards, the earth cracking beneath their feet. It's a full-blown magical cataclysm.
And Elara, at least initially, she seems to revel in the chaos, doesn't she?
Oh, absolutely. In your notes, you pointed out that she talks about this burning need to erase the constraints Rorek represented, almost like she sees this as a chance to break free.
But then Rorek creates this massive ice dome, trapping them both inside. It's such a powerful image, isn't it?
Oh, totally. Because it's no longer about winning the fight. It's about something far more destructive.
That's when you realize the true horror of the prophecy. It's not about one of them defeating the other. It's about them destroying everything together.
And that final exchange between them before the dome shatters, it just gave me chills. Elara asks, "What have you done?" in this bewildered voice.
And Rorek just calmly replies, "Fulfilled our destiny, sister." It's chilling, isn't it? Because it implies that this was always going to happen.
It really makes you question the whole idea of free will, doesn't it?
Did they have any choice in the matter? Were they always just puppets of fate?
Especially with that ending. The shattering ice dome releases this massive flood that wipes out their entire kingdom. It's just utter destruction.
It really highlights the devastating power of prophecies, doesn't it? Particularly when people believe in them so strongly. It's like their belief made it come true.
So when you look at Ablaze, what's the big takeaway for you?
It's a warning, I think. A warning about the dangers of unchecked power, the destructive nature of conflict, and the immense weight of prophecy. It makes you wonder, how much of our lives are actually within our control.
That's heavy stuff. But now, let's shift gears a bit. We've got another story from True Kill, this one called Blood of the Last. It's about Elena, a dragon shifter.
Ah, yes, Elena. Her story really resonated with me. It explores a whole different side of assassination, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Elena was raised by this group called the Order of Shifters. Their mission, eliminate dragons who succumb to madness. And Elena, she's the weapon they forged to do it.
Which brings us to her target, Kalos, the Crimson Fire. But he's not just some random dragon, is he?
No, he's Elena's kin, her mentor, the one who taught her everything she knows about being a dragon shifter. And now the Order has labeled him a tyrant, and she's been ordered to kill him.
Talk about a moral dilemma. That's got to be incredibly tight to process.
And Madsbrine really lays out that inner turmoil, Lena's flying to Kalos' lair, and she's torn between her duty to the Order and her memories of Kalos.
It's a battle within herself, isn't it? On the one hand, she's this highly trained assassin, a hidden blade, as the book describes her. But on the other, she has this deep bond with Kalos.
A bond that makes her question everything the Order has told her. I mean, Kalos taught her about balance, about controlling her power, and now they're saying he's a monster.
It really makes you wonder who's telling the truth
Yeah.
and who's really in the wrong here.
And then we have that confrontation in the cavern. Kalos sees Elena, and he says, "So, the cub turns assassin." It's like this mix of disappointment and betrayal, and maybe even a little bit of sadness.
Yeah, there's definitely sadness there. And Elena, she responds with this line that just shows how conflicted she is. She says, "You have lost your way. You will bring ruin, Kalos."
She's trying to convince herself as much as she's trying to convince him, don't you think?
Absolutely. And then something interesting happens. Kalos' tone shifts. He goes from this enraged dragon to something quieter, sadder, almost resigned. He asks her if she's going to be his executioner.
Which leads to this amazing battle. Fire and claws and destruction everywhere.
But the real battle is happening inside Elena, right?
Exactly. And then in the middle of this fight, she has this realization. She sees that Kalos' madness isn't driven by bloodlust or a thirst for power. It's driven by despair.
And that changes everything, doesn't it?
Completely. Elena realizes she's not facing a monster. She's facing someone who's hurting. And that's when her mission shifts from execution to mercy.
And the act of mercy itself, that's the killing blow. Elena shifts into her dragon form and dives straight into Kalos' chest.
Their shared fire consumes them both. It's not a victory. It's a mutual destruction, a shared sacrifice.
And the result. The mortal realm is safe from Kalos. But Elena, the last of her kind, is gone.
Which makes you wonder, was it worth it? Was sacrificing the last dragon shifter the only way to save the world?
That's the question Madsbrine leaves us with. It's a powerful statement about the cost of being a weapon, about the ambiguous nature of victory. And it really makes you think about how we define good and evil, doesn't it? Because maybe sometimes even the people we label as monsters are just victims of their own pain.
So much to unpack there. It's incredible how these two stories, Ablaze and Blood of the Last, approach assassination from such different angles.
They both show how deeply personal and messy these acts can be, right? It's not just about pulling a trigger or wielding a sword. It's about fate and family and duty and love.
And about questioning the narratives we're given. Because sometimes the people we think are the villains are actually victims, and sometimes the heroes are the ones who pay the ultimate price.
Orlando Madsbrine really challenges us to think critically, doesn't he? To dig deeper and look beyond the surface.
He does. And we hope this deep dive into True Kill has done the same for you. Maybe it's even sparked some questions about your own life. Like, are there any prophecies you might be fulfilling without even realizing it? Are there any situations where you've had to make a tough choice between duty and your personal beliefs? These are the kinds of things we want you to think about, because ultimately, these stories aren't just about assassins. They're about us. They're about the choices we make and the consequences we face.
And about the gray areas of life, the messy, complicated parts that don't always have easy answers.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep listening. We'll be back next time with another dive into the shadows. Until then, thanks for joining us on the True Assassins podcast.
See you next time.